Welcome to Falcon's Ledge. I'm Allstringer and you're watching Star Citizen. Today we're going to be talking about the new mining and refining systems that we're at in 3.12. We're going to talk about some of the good things about them and some of the downsides and, the fact that I think that CIG really missed an opportunity here. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to go out and do some mining in my MISC Prospector. And we're going to show off the new UI, which is pretty cool. There are some improvements to be made there as well. Then we're going to take the load to the refinery deck, and we are going to see how much it would sell to just the refinery terminal. We're going to refine the materials, and then we'll come back, pick them up, ship them to a destination, and sell them, and show you what the differences are. Some other things that have happened since the last time that I made a video is that I've kind of got a few new things in my setup. I purchased a left stick. The stick is a VKB Gladiator NXT left-hand premium. It's a pretty good stick. I'm still getting used to how it's going to work together. Right now, currently, I have it mapped to the twist is yaw, the forward back is throttle, and pushing the x-axis, that's left and right, is strafing left and right. I think the place we're gonna go today, let's see. Since we're in Hurston, I think we just might go do aerial.
Thank you, and please visit again.
We're not really looking to maximize our earning potential here. This is mainly for an example. I have been mining some in Yella, as we have before. There's been some changes in the concentrations of valuable materials within asteroids or rocks or minables, we should say, I guess. And the frequency of higher priced items like agricium and things above that have been increased. What you're going to find is you're going to find a lot of rocks that have 2% agricium or 2% laranite in them. I don't know if they've really reduced the number of larger ones, but it's given people the ability to mine some of this stuff a little bit more reliably. I think that the value of it hasn't changed a ton because you were usually able to find some more dense pieces of agricium, and it's still more valuable to find those dense rocks than it is to just mine all the little ones you get, because when you have a rock that is 2% agricium, it's a very, very high chance that you are going to have that agricium throughout the rocks after you make the first break, rather than being focused into one chunk. Whereas when you find something that has 13% agricium, you're much more likely to get 100% chunks out of that. And what that results in when you're mining rocks that have 2% of something in them is you're going to be taking on a lot of inert materials. And inert materials, they're not worth anything. So we've come down to Lathan. We're not actually going to go to Lathan. We're just going to pick a direction away from it. We're going to find ourselves a landmark. Let's just go off the sun this time. And we are going to dive down to the surface. Now, I still have my throttle connected. So my throttle I have the absolute limiter here, which is still one of the sliders on my throttle. And then I've got the throttle itself, which I can still use. But the neat thing is when I get down to a situation like this, if I really want to, I can just override it by pulling this left stick back, and now, even though my throttle's at 100%, we're now dropping. So what I do is I use my throttle for most cruising exercises, like right now when I want to be hands off. And then when I reach my location, see we're low enough we can start scanning, I will actually pull my throttle down into its zero position, and I'll switch to only my right and left sticks. The idea here is that I'm going to keep my hands on the sticks at all time and use very little keyboard input. My up and down strafe is on the analog stick on my left stick. So let's do some scanning. So we'll switch over to scanning mode. Much of this is going to be the same as my last video. I'm hoping that the audio is a heck of a lot better on this video than the last one. Definitely read all those comments and took it to heart. So we're going to try to make that a bit better. I still do need a better mic, so if you hear breathing or any kind of background noise, or maybe the sound balance might be a little off. In fact, I think I will go ahead and turn down the in-game sounds just a little bit to make sure that you guys can hear me better. So the first goal here is going to be to locate a spot where there's some rocks. Now, unlike rock mining, I fly at 100% SCM, and I usually ping between half and 100%. Half seems to pick up things at 5,000 meters or so. I see it picked something up at 34 kilometers. Believe me, that's probably a ship, so we're not going to go after that. Sometimes I will ping a full ping, and then the next few pings will be half pings. There we picked something up at 800 meters. If you're just picking things up at 800 meters, and I'll show this to you, if you just pick this up at 800 meters, it's not a big rock. It's the diamonds. So I'll show you that real quick. Just wanting to get a good guide for you all. See, so we did find some diamonds. We'll scan those just for fun. They're hadnite. Too bad we're not in a rock, huh? So here we are going back towards the sun. Let's do another full scan. Always be cognizant of what you have already scanned. So we see that one at 2,000 meters. I know that that's the diamonds we just scanned. And we have that 35 kilometer one. We know that that's the ship we're picking up. And there's one at 5,000 meters. That is probably a rocks. You don't usually pick up anything else but rocks at that range, or ships. So now I'm switching to half pings. Half pings will go between 4 and 5 kilometers. Alright, so we should be picking that up any moment. There it is. Single rock. One trick to getting them to become scannable is to shoot at them. I don't know why it works, but it works. Maybe it's superstitious. Hey, look, we got Bexelite. Well, here's the problem. The Bexelite is only 1%. I highly doubt that that's going to be any percentage high enough to be good. I came down just the other day and mined literally any rock that I could find that had valuable components in it just to see, and the load was worth very little. I think I made 10,000, 20,000 off of it, whereas if I'm just a little bit more picky, I can get a huge load that's worth 60,000, 70,000, 100,000. Depending on how picky you are. The key is going to come down to finding that balance. And maybe the balance is a little bit different than for you. Maybe you like quick runs that make you little chunks of money. Maybe you're concerned about 30Ks. That's totally valid. And if that's what works for you, then I encourage you to do that. For me, I like to have runs in the 40 to 60,000 range. I like to try to keep my inert materials under 30% of my cargo. Now they've changed the way that that's displayed nowadays, so in 3.12 it's now shows your, instead of showing it as a percentage of your cargo bay, it tells you how many CSEU of cargo that you have, or SCU of cargo that you have that is inert. So I'll have to convert that sometime. Beginning to think that I made a mistake coming to Yella. It's funny because when I'm rock mining, I find so many big rocks. I find fields of big rocks where there's 12 rocks in one place, and I can't seem to find diamonds to save my life. But here we are, not finding any big rocks. There's more diamonds. Another video that I'm going to be doing very soon here is the new bounty hunting system. I'll probably be doing that with Urki from Iron Spine and ADI, because there is some better grouping material in bounty hunting than there has been before. The payouts are considerably better. There's plenty of videos out there on the certification systems, so I probably won't go into super detail about that, but I will go over it in a lower amount of detail. Just a quick run through. Looks like we got some more rocks over here. Bit more Bexelite. Alright, just for the sake of getting going here, let's go ahead and mine this one. Maybe it'll be a good demonstration. I am using a Helix. There is another alternative to a Helix. It's the Lancet. Now what you do with a Lancet is you actually overclock it. Oh boy, is my... There we are. Had a bit of lag. I've got my my throttle, my mining laser throttle, bound to the throttle slider on the new left stick, and my goodness, is that nice. It is really easy to just get into the green area and get things mined really easy. Even if there's a small green area, it's just because you can swing that laser so quickly back and forth. Alright, so we've made our first break. It looks like we do have a mineable piece here. Let's see what's in that. Just quartz. If you notice, there is a new UI. So on the left hand side, you're going to have your throttle information, thrust information, as well as the active modules that you have. Those are your consumables. On the right hand side, you're going to have your mining data. You'll have the type, the mass, the instability resistance, the composition. Now there is some things that have changed there. It is listed in a different order than it was before. It used to be ordered by value, and maybe they changed this back, but I noticed that it is different than it used to be. There's some Bexlite. We have 4%. That thing is partially underground. We may want to blow the rest of it up. Looks like we got somebody near that's pinging. Hopefully that's not a miner and not a pirate. Pirate. Okay, 0.83, that is not going to be useful. Let's go ahead and blow that up. We're going to just hit it with the maximum and back us away. Did it not blow? There we go. That blew. Didn't get our shields. This piece is also on top of the stuff we want, so let's heat that up real quick. Alright, and I think this is our chunk of Bexlite here. Yep. 4%. This is, honestly, this is probably the best we're gonna be able to ask for in a rock that has this low of a percentage. So let's come in and carefully mine this Bexlite. The good thing about the Lancet that's overclocked is that it has pretty much all positive aspects to the Lancet. And I don't have the stats right offhand, but unlike the Helix, which has a very high power output, but it has some negatives that come with it, the Lancet is all positives, and it has a much lower damage output, or energy output, but what it does have is it has the positives. So to get around the fact that it has low energy, you simply overclock it, and you can mine the majority of the rocks that you find. I have found some that I can't mine, and that's why I've got the Helix out here. Actually, is that I found a very high percentage Agricium one and decided to go mine it. And see, this is what I was concerned about. Bexlite 2.3%, 89% inert materials. This is not a good candidate to mine because it's mostly junk. And there's probably another piece of Bexlite that's down underneath the ground here, but yeah, we're not going to mine this. And we're going to, because I do see pings coming from the right hand side over here, we're going to turn a little bit more to the left and continue scanning out here to kind of get away from the other person. Maybe I need to go to a different place. Maybe I'll go to Aberdeen. Well, we found one here. That one has some Hephaestonite in it, but again, we're talking all low volume stuff. And this could be just that I'm here on aerial, and maybe it's not a very good place to find higher concentrations of minables. Admittedly, I'm here because I was already in the area, so there's some gold, beryl, and quartz. The scanner has not changed. You do see the most valuable stuff first. So if you scan that first item and it's gold or something like that, you know that that you're not going to be finding any valuable material in rock. Let's see what this is. Terranite, 11%. See? You hold out for a little bit and you find a much better item to mine. So let's do this. $6.7 ton. So the larger, higher quality ones are generally, you could say, are made for the mole. So if you want to mine them in the prospector, just got to put your face up against them, crank your helix to 100%, and mine away. Alternatively, let's see if we can even do this. We could always overclock it. That's going to generate more heat, take more power. But it does appear that we're getting some progress on the rock. One thing, a criticism that I do have for the mining UI is they changed it to smaller type. And though I like the fact that they can get more things into a smaller area, so you're getting more data. More data is good. But what I don't like about it is that we have white lettering, and if you happen to be on a place like Yella or Microtech, and there's snow, it's really hard to read this. Now, they do have a little bit of background, a little bit of outline to them, but it's very faint. I think that if they really wanted to make it so that this UI could be usable anywhere, number one, and the best idea, would be to allow us to change our HUD colors. Please, CIG, customizable HUD colors. At least give us 3 different colors we can change our HUD for each brand or whatever you want to do there. Just something that we would allow us to have better visibility of our instruments in different environments. And secondly, and this is a worse fix, would be for them to just take everything that if they have dark lettering, put a little white outline around it. If they have white lettering, put a little black outline around it. It doesn't have to be very big, just a pixel or two. So that way, you know, if you're on a black background, the white's going to stand out. If you're on a light background, that black is going to just make those letters and make those instruments pop just a little bit for you. So that visibility conversation just brought up another thing for me. I did go to a new display. I'm using a 43-inch TV. It's a 4K UHD TV, but unfortunately I'm still not recording in 4K. The NVIDIA GeForce 1080 that I'm using just can't do it. My CPU could probably be okay with rendering in 4K, but my video card just can't do it. I did play around with it in 4K, but it was at about 24, 25, sometimes up to 30 frames per second. It was just a little bit too short for me to really play it all the time, and definitely too short to record, because you always lose some frames when you're recording. Yeah, it's unfortunate. On some other games I'm able to play in 4K, in War Thunder, I'm running 4K, and it's quite nice. One other thing that you run into with this UI again, thinking about the visibility of things, is the bars that are on both sides are relatively small. The throttle doesn't seem to be a problem. You can see that okay. And the white bar as it's building is okay. But once you get into the green, if you have a very small amount of green, it's really difficult at times. And when I was using a 23-inch monitor, 24-inch, sorry, when I was using a 24-inch monitor just more recently, when it got into the green, sometimes I could not see where in the green it was. I could see it filling, but I couldn't see where my current temperature was. And that's really important, because that's going to determine where you're going to sit with your throttle. If you're high in the green, you're going to want to set your throttle a little bit lower so that it's either hanging steady or draining a little bit. That's a big critical issue. But they have this tiny, thin little bar to show you where your current temperature within the green is, and that just isn't very good. So I think they need to widen that a bit. Hey, we finally broke the rock. Awesome. So let's see where all this Terranite is. That's gold. So let's see where this is. That's copper. More copper. Inert. There's our Terranite. 37% Terranite. That may be all of it. Let's see. Okay, so we've got some stuff that's stacked on top of each other. So let's burn one of these off. I think just burning one of them off will be enough. This rock is much harder, so even on the second break, it's taking a little bit of time for this this helix to cook it. And of course we're at range also, but whew, that one hurt me. Apparently this rock was way more explosive than that last one. Well, I'm still alive, so let's just get this mined and we'll go back and turn it in. We're just gonna do this one good rock here. On the second break, we bring on the throttle a lot more gradually, because these second breaks have a lot less mass to them, so they take the heat a lot quicker. Feather it a little bit more as we approach the green. And here's a situation where on my other monitor would have been really hard, because we've got Terranite, which has that little bit of instability factor. Oh, we see it went up, and I couldn't see it. Alright, doesn't look like we lost anything. That's good. We'll switch over to extraction. Inert materials. 44% Terranite. And 55% copper. So this one's actually 100% not inert. That's great. Let's see what we got here. We might have some more Terranite in this. We do. 14%. We got a little bit of inert there. Alright. Oh, we have a chunk here. What do we got? 99% Terranite. I love it. So we've got about 30% load. So 10.44 SCU out of 32 SCU. So let's close the mining mode and take off here. Our exit the atmosphere, we should say. And we are going to take this to her L1. Mostly out of convenience. Different stations have different specialties, so I urge you to use the internet to find the best place to bring your ore. Now, I'll put a chart up here. That should be able to help you to choose. I'll put that up a little bit later on because we're going to be displaying it. It also has the best methods for processing each one of the types of. Well, you know, they don't have. This is one of the problems that I have. I'll go into that later, but it has all the different methods of refining and what kind of effects that those have. So we'll make the quick jump out here. In our quite badly injured prospector. In the future, I would have had to go back, because if you notice, I have no cargo bags. They got blown off. Let this be a lesson to you all. Be careful what your distance is when you blow things up. In the case of this one, that one was fairly explosive. And if you haven't checked out 3.12 yet, you're going to get a great view of one thing that they added in 3.12 in about 5 or 10 seconds here, and that is gas clouds. And they do look really good. I gotta hand it to them. They really bring out a neat aesthetic, and I enjoy them. Well, one of the things I like, I would have to say almost as much, is the fact that at these L1, or not just L1s, but all of the Lagrange points, they put a ring of lights around around the station, and I think that's just great. Well, this ship is a little bit shaky when it's all damaged, eh? It does look beautiful. Alright, we're approaching the station, so we'll kill our throttle. Alright, let's contact the ATC.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Some of these bits and bobs here at the end, past the landing pad, are part of the refinery bays that they've added.
landing complete. Have a pleasant
Another
stay.
thing that they've changed is having to hold Y to get out of your seat instead of just hitting Y. And it had taken me some time to program myself to make sure I only tap Y so that I don't accidentally eject myself. Now, eject, I believe, is by default Alt Y. I think it's a good change, honestly, but it took me a little while to get back used to holding Y. Especially when getting out of bed or something like that, that is still tapping Y. The new elevator UIs are excellent. I love them. The elevator rides, not so much. I could use for the elevators to be a little faster. What do you think? Tell me in the comment section below. I do like the revamp of the layout of these places. It's nice. Being able to come and get a quick bite to eat and a drink is wonderful. Wow, we wolfed down that dog in a hurry, didn't we? Grab ourselves an energy drink. Could always use one of those. There we are. And apparently, when we're drinking, we're number one. You know, if we were being proper when we were drinking, wouldn't we lift our pinky, not our index finger? I'm just saying. Go to the refinery decks while we quickly finish off our energy drinks there. And here we will be arriving at the star of our episode here, the refinery decks. They've done a good job with the ambiance of the refinery decks. They definitely do feel industrial, like work is being done. Really great job on that. Glad they did that. I'm really hoping that there will be gameplay in more areas than there has been so far. And I know, it's terrible of me, but we're going to drop this because carrying it around and hearing it slosh around the whole time, no bueno. So, like I said, it looks cool, it sounds cool. I'm hoping that there will be gameplay all over in here. Maybe parts of the process you get to take part in. That seems like a really cool thing to me. Here's a very, very close couple. A little bit of public PDA, I guess. Who knows what these guys are doing. Oh! That is some odd growth that guy's got. Alright. They've got a store in here that you can buy equipment, mining specific equipment, and if you look back in the back there, you can actually rent mining ships back there. You can buy the Pembroke armor and the rucksack as well as other stuff. So check that out. It's pretty cool. Excuse me, dude. So let's check out what this Terranite is worth on the open market if you don't refine it. Here's the Terranite. It looks like they want to give us 12,000 for the whole load, 11,000 for the Terranite. That is about half of what the Terranite was worth before this patch. And you're going to find that same reduction across the board. Now, if we open this screen, on the left side at the top, you can see what they specialize in. If you were doing quartz here, you would actually have a worse yield than at other places. But on some of the other ones, you have a better yield. So that's the percentage more units that you will get than what you brought in, basically. They have a capacity here, which is an incredibly high number, and I'm not sure exactly how that figures. But let's select our ship and set up an order. So one bug that I know of that I think is still occurring, so we're just going to do it all, is that if you tell it to refine one of the materials that you have and you create the order, it will empty out your cargo bay. So make sure that you do all of the stuff that has any value. There are several methods here that you can do it from. Some methods have a lower yield, but a faster time that they do it in, and then maybe will cost less. Some have a high yield and a high amount of time that it takes, but have a good yield. And there's some of them that have that really fast time, but really high cost, but have a high yield. Anyway, the one that is the most efficient is the Dynix solventation. This is the one that has the highest high yield, low cost, but longest time, and that's the one we're going to go for here. If we tell it to get quote, we're going to see that it's going to take 9 hours 52 minutes, and it's going to cost us 573 AUEC to do it. We're going to go ahead and kick that off. Alright, so we're going to come back to this, but while we do, I'll go ahead and walk around the refinery decks to show you the different places. But what I'm going to do is talk about what I think about this new refinery system. I'll start with the positives. I do like the refinery system. I like making each play loop, each game loop, more complicated, because it makes things more interesting when you have to do more things to accomplish what you want to. It can become tedious, and I think that making a balance between creating content and creating tedium is a pretty difficult balance. But they do need to try to balance that. What I don't like is that we really didn't change anything about how we play our mining game loop. Let me give you an example. I'm going to stop here and just look at this wonderful flame here. We still mine the same things. We still go after Agricium and up, because those are the things that are most valuable. They really dropped the ball here because they could have made it so as a raw material, some of the different things, like let's just take Agricium for example. We're just going to use this. Agricium might have been worth more as a percentage of time in its raw form than it was in its refined form. Whereas gold, we'll say, is worth very little in its non-refined form and worth a lot more in its refined form. The reason why I'm saying this is that if they would have made more variety, it would have given us more variety in our gameplay. A miner could choose to, instead of looking for Agricium and up in terms of value per unit, they could look for, say, high concentrations of a lower valued item.
We're sorry. You've exceeded the allotted time to depart. We will have to return your ship to storage.
Okay, we're waiting on this. Okay. They could have looked for, say, gold.
For your safety, please vacate the area.
and look for high valued or high concentrations and taken only gold back, refined it, and got more money for their time. I just think that some additional variation between things would have been very helpful and would have made for a better experience. They still have a lot of time and they're still doing a lot of work on this, so these are the types of things that might change in the future, and I'm hoping that they do. I would love to have a conversation with all of you about this. Please comment in the comment section down below and let me know what you think about the new Refineries. And I will be right back with the results of our sale. Alright, so it's been over 9 hours, and we're going to go back and pick up our job. What we'll need to do is we will need to load that job into a cargo vessel, and I've got a couple of those. Oh, look at these guys. All standing in a row. Maybe they're at attention. I don't know.
Hey, back again, I see. Welcome.
Alright.
See anything you like?
Alright, so it is done. It looks like we got... Come on. 605 units of Terranite and 405 of copper. Let us put this on a ship. I don't know why it's giving me only these options, but what the heck, we'll put it on my Cutlass Red. Alright, so we have collected that. Let's go deliver it. For delivery, there's places you can take it. As I understand, you can take it to some stations, you can take it to some of the admin offices on planets. But if you want the best chances of being able to sell your entire load, the trade and development groups on, or I believe, yeah, trade administration offices have the biggest buying power on the planet. So we're going to be going to Hurston because, you know, it's just next door. Alright, so we've arrived at our ship, which should have our cargo on board. Just a warning to some of you might be doing this. It is not unusual for your ship to not display the cargo, but sometimes it will. It does not look like our cargo has been physicalized this time, but it still should be there. It's been a while since I've flown this ship. Alright. So we're gonna go to Hurston?
Thank you, and please visit again.
Where is it? It's here. Oh, that's right. Here we go. This is the part where you're praying that your quantum drive doesn't try to take you through the planet instead of around the planet. And I guess today is our lucky day. I wish that we could just go down and dock with the big trade building there. I mean, if we're only making shipment deliveries, it'd be really cool if they would allow you to dock with that and make it a little quicker, but, you know, I guess I understand their reasoning behind having you take the whole trip. I made it.
Set when disembarking the train.
Alright, so we've arrived at the trading and shipping console here at the Trade Center, and we will select our Cutlass Red. And we will not be able to sell anything. Thank you very much, Star Citizen.
A few moments later.
Right, so now we've come to New Babbage, and I have the sound bug where you hardly have any sounds, but then occasionally there's some random sound in the background, so sorry about that. Looks like there wasn't any way for me to get this video done without some weird oddities going on. Welcome to Alpha. So, let's see if... oh, look at that. Still can't sell it. Right. Onto the admin. Or onto the trading department. Or whatever that's called. Trading administration. Trade and Development Division. Yes. Trade and Development Division. That's what I said. There we go. Alright, so we're selling our Terranite for 21,000. Alright, then we'll sell our copper for 2,500. And that is how you make money using the refinery terminals in Star Citizen right now in 3.12. So again, I'd love to have a discussion in the comments about this. I think that all in all, the changes made by CAG are positive ones. I just think that they missed the boat on what they could have done with it in providing variation or variety in how we mine and refine goods. I think that if a bit more effort was made to make it so the increases in price from refining was not linear, meaning it wasn't the same for every product. It wasn't just that all of the stuff that you were mining is now cut in half, and if you want to get that other half, you have to refine it. Because that feels a lot like just time gating your money making, which effectively is what's going on here. I think that that's fine because, you know, you got to make the gameplay loop a little bit more complex and whatnot, and I think that we're moving in a good direction. But I think that making some variation would really just take this whole thing up another notch. Tell me what you think down in the description below. If you like my content, please subscribe. It really does help me out. If you like the video, like it. And I hope that you have a great day.